Hello, hello. Hi, Pop. How are you? I saw you come up on my list of people to share it to say that I was live, and I was like, I have to make sure that you receive an invitation to come and hang out. Hi, Luke. What do you guys want to talk about today? What do you want to discuss? We can talk about healing or awakening topics. I have a whole host of things. Hi, Lisa. And I'll do a check-in with cards. I've got a whole bunch of cards, and I started doing this really cool thing, looking at them. So if you guys don't know, for those that don't know me, my name's Tanya Baldwin. I also have a pen name, Sha'Ryah and Lorian, and that's also the other channel that I'm broadcasting on. And I've written over 20 books that are published. I just published my 21st and am working on a bunch of different books at the same time. So one of the books that I'm writing is called Embodied Spirituality, because I totally believe that we need to be embodying our spirit. We're to walk heaven onto earth through marrying our spirit into our form, right? We didn't come here to escape the body. So the Embodied Spirituality book is from that concept. I also am writing a book called Elemental Fieldwork Codex, and this is reestablishing sacred relationship with the elements, because we are meant to be alchemists. And so one of the biggest things that happened in the great forgetting that we went through is that we lost the ether element. And I know most of you are familiar with the movie Coco. And in the movie Coco, when the last person remembers you, when they forget or when they pass on, so when the last person that remembers you no longer exists, then you are forgotten for good. And there's a lot of truth to that. When we forget that the ether element exists, and we are told also that this particular thing is God, which it's not. So many of us who identify as being atheist, we identify as that, or they identify as that. I don't. They identify as that because the example that they've been given doesn't make sense. It doesn't align, right? So because that doesn't make sense, it's just the whole thing is just doesn't make any sense. But when you start to understand that, the world is created, the matrix that we're living in, or the world that we're living in, was created, and it is held together by the elements. And the elements are what allow it to grow and to change and to alter. And this field around you is not empty. It's never been empty. This field around you is filled with consciousness. It's filled with ether. It's the unifying field. And you might not be able to see it because we've been taught to not even think about it. And when you think about something like the pyramids all activating, if we keep having conversations about, fast times indeed, indeed, get your roller skates on because we're going. I've been doing a lot of work. I do planetary grid work. I do conscious work with the grid, with Mother Gaia, with the elements, with the pyramids, with all the stargates, supporting sacred. And the meditation we do today, you'll see, because we use sacred geometry, and we also use toning. These things are huge, right? When we're looking at it in the spiritual way. Yes. I have a big one. Do you want a city and a new calendar and a school? And we know all the things we need, right? Because the thing that I've been trying to get people to understand is that you are the creator. You are the creator. those who are running the show aren't the creators. They're kind of missing some stuff. So they need you to create it. So they hijack your awareness and your attention, and they distort things, and you come through the veil forgetting. So then you have to spend the rest of your life remembering and to remember who and what you are. And for many of us, through the false reincarnation loop and through some choices that we made cognitively, we consciously chose. But for many of us, it was that false reincarnation loop. We got out of here and we met the different levels, and through those different levels, they convinced us we had to come back in again, instead of us realizing that we are to ascend back, decide, come back in, choose somewhere else. Maybe we want to choose something different. So that hijacked space, we kept coming back in and going back out and coming back in and going back out and coming back in. So we need to get out of it, right? When you look at history, and it's kind of interesting, or it's hilarious to me, actually. I find it quite funny how they try to pass off that we were just so stupid. We came from apes, and we had like and rudimentary tools, and we were all like do. And meanwhile, you go back in time, and we had living structures, and we had sacred geometry, and we had things like energetic, like the pyramids, right? We were so much more advanced, so much more technologically ahead of what we are now. It's just because the last time that they reset it, we've only gotten this far, and we're waking up. And the point of this whole journey was to wake up. And it's not about waking up and fighting the system directly. It's just waking up and realizing my attention, my awareness, my creative power, my sovereignty, that's my power. This light that's in here that some people don't have because they channel a lot of messages, and I've been channeling a lot of messages. Oh, I love you. Thank you. I've channeled a lot of messages, and I actually talk about channeling and teaching people how to channel, because everybody can, and many of us do. We just don't even realize it. We call it flow state. But when we're channeling and we want to get messages, say from our higher self, of course, consciousness state, and then you ask a question and you allow it to automatically come out of the pen, and do not censor yourself. That's the hardest part, is not to stop yourself with what you're writing and allow your logic center to kick in there and go, yeah, that's stupid. Why am I writing that? Why would I say that to myself? Right? Once you start to trust yourself, then you start to write things in more flow. I have a couple of things. It's a cheap book. This is my book of messages to the collective. Oh, this is a good message. This was a message, I think, from yesterday. But I think that somebody needs to hear it. I get these little nudges every now and then. You are needed. Oh yeah, right. All of them. Do you know this is my elemental field work codex that I'm writing. I'm writing it in a book. and then I'm typing it out into the computer. And the embodied spirituality book, I've printed the rough copy off, but it's just the rough copy. All right, let's see what this channeled message was. So again, I have a very specific practice in the morning. I do breath work, I do toning, I do meditation, I call on my oversoul, speak to my monad, I connect to the elements, I to Mother Gaia, source consciousness. I understand that the conscious field is the same as source, but nonetheless, I connect to all of that. I connect internally and I connect externally, because the field is within and the field is without you. So source consciousness is all within you and all without you. The ether element, the air element, it's all outside of you and it's all inside of you. So I do this whole process. I do toning, I do stretching, I do meditation, I do all these decrees and all of that stuff. It's my process. And then I write this. This is after all of that. Then the last thing that I do before I leave is I ask for a message for the collective, and then I ask for a message for me. The last thing that I actually do is write my own personal message. So you can do it too. Same thing. Just get yourself into state, write what comes out, and then review it afterwards, not during. You are needed. I know for many of you, you think you are only one person. You are disposable, you are broken, and so many other lies. You are me, the same as everyone else. The field that is me runs through you just as much, if not more, than the people you've been taught to use through your actions to move closer and in a more sacred relationship with me. Or you can make choices for things that oppose life. You can choose to support entertainment that is blatantly showing you satanic images and even rituals. You can choose because I gave you free will. I wanted you to explore the physical with no restraint. And there are those who choose to control, to command, to order, to distort, and manipulate. They created hierarchy and put themselves and their families on top. On top of creator. On top. As the creator of all, I don't even put myself on top. I am within and around. I am experiencing a myriad of lives through all of you. When you walk too far away from me, deny my existence, or go willingly into the dark, that's when I pull away from you. I'm still around you, but the light in your soul dims and dims. If you are intent on denying me and doing the opposite of life, I will respect your choice and leave. I will be by you, waiting for you to remember and return, for I love you. So I ask you, please choose life. Please make it your daily choice. Love, truth, beauty, and sacred cause, all while choosing life in all opportunities. For you are life. You are me. I just love that message. So been getting a bunch of different messages. Sometimes I channel specifically, like I'll ask for a message from the earth element, or I'll ask for a message from the water element. Sorry. I need to finish getting my tea too. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about is that the more that you establish sacred relationship, the more that relationship builds, and you are going to see it come back to you. When I'm really in touch, I can see and interact with the field around me. If I'm right now, I can see the field slightly. I can see movement in the air around me. But when I'm really, really in a connected state, then I can actually see the field moving. I can see the sacred geometry in the field. I can see codes. I can see like all kinds of things. And it's absolutely fascinating and mind-blowing in confirming what you kind of know, or what you've found out, or what you've come to terms or come to know, right? And we all have our knowings, which is amazing. Hi, Michelle. It's lovely to meet you as well. So yeah, what I talk about on my channel, on both my channels. So my one channel is Sha'Ryah, and that is the name of my company, Sha'Ryah Pathway of Ascension. It was formerly Mind, Body, Spirit, Healthy Self. That's where I went to after being a nurse for over 20 years. And decided that we were part of sick care, not health care, because we were never curing anybody. We were just keeping them cycling as repeat customers. And we never really talked to them about the real aspects of health and wellness, like your sleep, your social circles. What are you eating? What are you drinking? What are you watching? What frequencies are around you? What's your traumas like? So when I did my healing journey, then I realized that what I was really sick with was trauma. That was it. I was sick with trauma. And so that sent me on a path to become an expert in trauma, because that's what people do when they get a diagnosis. I knew that from nursing, right? When I was a nurse, I knew if I wanted to get information about some disease, find the person that has it, because they're the expert. Not only do they research it, not only do they know treatment options, they also have lived experience. They know what it feels like inside their body or their mind to experience it. And I thought of that as I got handed a whole bunch of diagnoses. I got told I had multiple sclerosis. I got told I had high functioning anxiety, high functioning depression, CPTSD, panic disorder, ADHD. They finally gave me that diagnosis when I was in my 40s. And then on the spectrum, I'm just on the spectrum, right? Just on the spectrum. And I call it mytism because everybody has it. Everybody's just somewhere different on the scale of what they call us different people, right? Us change makers. We are just we're born different because you needed to be different to break out of the mold that they're trying to get us to all, adopt and become. So when I came out of that and went into mind, body, spirit, healthy, that was the whole concept of it, is that we need spirituality. That's a huge, significant part of our healing journey and the awakening process and so on and so forth. And then, yep, exactly. I studied nutrition. I studied like all kinds of things with trauma, all the greats. Like I studied Gabor Mate, Peter Levine, Dr. Peter Levine, actually, we should probably say his designation. He would appreciate that. I studied with heart math. I took somatic experiencing, which is Dr. Peter Levine. I did polyvagal theory. I did all kinds of stuff. Like I just, high functioning. So then I was high functioning, but I was high functioning and learning about all of these things. And that started me on the first part of the journey, but there was also the awakening part of it. So I started a podcast called The Truth Will Set You Free. And I started doing episodes. I think I did 41 episodes and then I've taken a pause from it. Those 41 episodes are on anything from the illusion of money, the illusion of time. It talks about all the things that I had sought and seen the truth of over time. So that became one of the things that I did. But as I was going through it and doing the healing and helping people, it only takes one truth. That's it's on TikTok and YouTube. One truth sets you free. And the title is The Truth Will Set You Free. But it's one truth, the hymn. Anyway, 41 episodes. And there's also some other little things like on the YouTube channel. I did a couple of things, like channeled some stuff from some galactic councils and things like that. So that's on that channel as well. And at some point I went into Sha'Ryah and really wanted to focus more on the thing. In my recent posts, actually, I can do it right now. Hi, Carol. I love you, by the way. And it is your superpower. You have lots of superpowers. Let me see. How do I get people to? I'm like, where do I do my comments? There we are. Found it. All right. One. Oh, I'll do the @ sign. That might help. One truth sets. There we are. There, that's the other one. And then my main, well, it was my original channel. I was getting close to an account ban. I was getting warnings. And then, so I thought I better create a backup channel. And that's the channel, that's this one. Because yeah, I thought I might get my account canceled. So I was like, ooh, I better put a backup in place to protect myself. How many on here have a backup in case their account gets canceled? Anybody? Who's had accounts banned? I just laugh like, I mean, I live in Canada. Where are you, Robert? Are you in Canada as well? Yeah, and initially it started as a backup 5 times. Right. Yeah, that's why I have my website. My website is key because my website, I can put whatever content right now anyway, until, if they decided to put any changes in on that type of stuff. Right now, I can take care of the content that's there. So I share different things on my site. So when I do my lives, because I have 2 membership spaces that meet twice a month, and in the one membership space, it's dedicated to healing and balancing yourself, your emotions, returning to self, all of that stuff. So it uses all my years of nursing, all my healing stuff, all of my personal experience with trauma. And to give you just a little bit, because I know there's a lot of new people here today. So to give you a little bit, my mom was an abused woman. So I was abused pre-birth. And so that created a situation called functional neurological disorder, which I didn't know until I was later on. And that's okay. It just means that I have to watch my stress levels, because when my stress gets really, really, really high, I will end up adopting disease processes, and they can be pretty significant. Like I could literally, depending on the stress level, my nervous system will malfunction and I could be paralyzed. Like it's literally that kind of a misfiring. Now I've been working, like I became a nervous system specialist, because you can't get a diagnosis like multiple sclerosis and functional neurological disorder and anxiety, depression, like everything, even trauma, relates back down to the nervous system and that stability, that creating safety. So I kept doing that. Oh, right. Getting in trouble for speaking truth. I've definitely been there. They just can't handle the truth. So I focused on the nervous system and on the healing thing. So I had the pre-gestational, and then I was knowingly physically abused at 6 months and sexually abused at about 2. And that was it was an ongoing for the rest of my life. Hi, Cindy. Hi, Dazzy. Yay. So that was the onset of my story. I moved over 50 times. I have narrowly avoided death. I don't know how many times. There was constant chaos and dysfunction, it go between trauma and neglect, right? It was like all of that, right? I went all of it. And I was working by the time I was 14, living on my own by the time I was 16, a mom when I was 18, second mom by the time I was 19. And then I went on to get 9 years post-secondary education and another job, so many things, right? So I was just running from it. And I ran real fast. I used to say in the beginning, I joked around about how I was the gingerbread man. Run as fast as you can. You can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man. That's how high functioning anxiety and depression works. But eventually you run out of gas. and I did. It took me 40 years, and then I ran out of gas. I tried healing before, but I would always go in and I would be smart with them. And I would see if I could get them to, if they would take it serious, or if they thought maybe I'll do something different, or I'll, but they pretty much just, whatever. All right. You're doing so well. You're so high functioning. It's like, but I have trauma. Yeah, but you seem to be doing well for yourself. Okay. You're not my therapist. You're not going to help me. Just because I'm functioning well doesn't mean I'm doing okay. A duck that looks like it's going across the water like this, but underneath his feet are going like this. And that was me. Inside, my body was like, my brain was. And if it wasn't doing that, I was completely checked out. I was probably in like a helicopter floating around, not really feeling my body, not really feeling my emotions, not really connected. And most of us know that, right? We've all experienced that. We've all been through that gamut of trauma, neglect, programming, all of it, until we got to the point where we went, wait, enough is enough. Enough is enough. And for me, I had to wait till it knocked me off my pedestal at work. I couldn't go to work. Once I couldn't work, that was it. That's when I had to sit down and I had to deal with it. So I didn't, come to that conclusion like, oh, one day I'm just going to sit down and start healing. No, I hit my rock bottom. My rock bottom made me determine that I wanted to heal. But initially I started off doing it with the system, with medications and with the doctors and all the programs and all the stuff. So I saw a psychiatrist, a neuropsychiatrist, a psychologist. I went to group programs. I did CBT, DBT. I did physiotherapy. I did occupational health therapy, I did, oh my God, rehab. I did, I did group programs. I did, what else did I do? I don't know. I took the pills. I took them all. This one in, that one out, that one up, this one down, missed this one around, that one around. And next thing you know, you got 9 of them and you're wondering what the heck they're all for, because none of them are really doing anything anyway. And not once in all of that did anyone ever sit me down and go, what's your diet like? What's your day-to-day like? What do you do for your activities? What are your connections like? What's your social circle like? What's your family upbringing? Like nothing. How do you manage your emotions? Do you have any mindfulness practice? Nothing. Not a question. How's your sleep? Nothing. Nothing. Nobody asked me any of that. The only time they were ever concerned about my sleep was when they could prescribe me another medication. And then that medication gave me side effects, and I got to have another medication. And what ended up saving me the most is that I was a registered nurse of 20 years at this point, and I was the director of nursing for the hospital. So when I got to the point where I was fed up with what was going on, because it was over a year of on this pathway, and I'm like, I can't even do that. They're chakras. They're just the chakras. It doesn't show the base, and it doesn't show the third eye or the crown. Sorry. Someone asked just what the flags were on the background. This one actually shows the base, but it only gets up to here. Yeah, it's just a chain of them, and it has little statements on it. So the base chakra would say, I am connected with the energy of Mother Earth. My mind, body, and spirit are grounded, centered, and purified. Beautiful. So anyway, when it was at that point, I was frustrated because I wanted to get back to work, because back to work was comfortable. Back to work wasn't dealing with trauma. Back to work wasn't, having to sit in silence. Back to work wasn't having to listen to the thoughts or deal with the feelings or any of that. I wanted to get back to work. I was very, very, very gung-ho for that. And so when the medications weren't working, I was like, I'm out. These medications, I'm done. And it was because they were like, well, we're going to do this. And they had this whole complicated thing. And I was like, enough is enough. So I advocated to remove all of the medications until I felt different. And when I felt different, then we could adjust them. But I ended up dropping them all and I didn't feel any different. And I was like, well, they weren't doing anything for me. That's amazing. That's so awesome. And that's when I decided to take my health into my own hands. So I changed my diet. I started exercising. I started meditating. I became obsessed with the present moment. I started journaling. I started allowing myself to experience my emotions. That's when I also started studying really heavily with all of the greats that were out there, whether, it was Gabor Mate or Dr. Peter Levine or Stephen Porges or, on and on and on and on and on. I read the books, I did all the stuff. And then I looked at where I came from and I was like, how can I go back to nursing after this? How can I go back to that job? How can I go back to saying that I care about your health when we're not? And the job actually was what gave me the decision to actually say, no, that's okay. I'm not coming back. So I decided I was starting my own company, and I was going to help people by reminding everybody that there is the spiritual component to you as well. And that when we're looking at the body, we're looking at more than, do I look good in a bikini? When we're looking at the body, we're looking at how grounded and stable it is. We're looking at it being connected to the present moment. We're looking at all of that. So then after I started my company and I started helping people with their trauma, then I started studying more and more and more. And I studied with a shaman, and I studied all kinds of more things. Yep. Yep. Yeah, so it was quite the eye-opening experience, but then it got me here. And then I keep having more awakening and more awakening and more awakening. And, I eventually remembered who and what I am and what I came here to do, and how we're all here to create the new earth. And we're going to create it. We're not going to wait for someone to show up and do it for us. No, we are the change makers. We do that by doing it. So we have to do it. So some of us are creating financial systems, right? And I have somewhat of that adopted within my company. Right now we live in a society where we need money in order to survive. We do. So in order for me, then it's an exchange, right? But if it's a situation where somebody is not had the ability to pay, then I will go into a relationship with them in sacred reciprocity. It's a matter of energy exchange. That's all. So sometimes something someone can provide is better than money anyway. More betterer. Sometimes the stuff that people do for you are more betterer than the money that they could give you. Sure. More betterer. I created education. I created books. I started writing books for children to be spiritually aware. I write books on mystical creatures to, awaken young minds. I talk about the universe never ends and how the language of light and all of these things, so that children wake up with those concepts ingrained in them. Because one of the saddest things, and I'm allowed to be sad. I don't have regrets, but I'm allowed to be sad that my children did not grow up with this version of me, because they would have a much deeper connection to spirituality. But I wasn't this deeply spiritual back then. I didn't even find out that I was Indigenous until I was in college. I had an estranged relationship with my father's family. Obviously, if my 6 month, and then, when I first started getting abused, and, my mom's, was an abused woman, you can kind of put two and two together. So, I lost my train of thought. It'll come back or it won't. It could mean that's time to go on. Yes, absolutely. Right? It is. It's just energy, and it's just it's an exchange. It truly is. Right? So I went out and I created courses and books and classes and all these things. The first book that I wrote for children that I published is called Jessie Learns to Create Calm Spaces, because one of the things that everybody always talked about is that there's no books like that to teach children how to manage their emotions. So I'm like, I'm going to write one. And so I wrote that one. And then I wrote a book that is for my grandson, Jack and Nanny B, The Adventures of Jack and Nanny B, Monsters Edition. And that's where we go and hunt monsters, but monsters are just little girls and boys who have been bullied. So they turned into monsters, or they've been made to feel like they're unloved. So Jack and Nanny B, who go armed with love and light, they go to remind these children that they are wanted, they are loved, that they are deserving, they are worthy, all of this stuff. And they turn them back into the little boys and girls that they were. And then I wrote the book for my youngest grandson, Charlie, and that's The Adventures of Charlie and His Adventures with Nanny B. I changed the title slightly, so it gives me a little pause every time. So Choo Choo Charlie and His Adventures with Nanny B. And this book is no spitting, no biting, no hitting, and no kicking, because he was 3 at the time and he was doing all those little things, and as they often do. And so those books, were the first 3 books that I wrote. And then I wrote a series of books for my nieces and granddaughter, and they are the Unlikely Heroine Chronicles. And this follows 4 girls. They get released on each of the seasons. So summer solstice or fall, like the equinox or solstices. and it follows the girl's birthday. And these books, they go and they have adventures with mystical creatures. Like the first book was called Tiana the Goblin Slayer, sort of. No goblins were hurt in the making of that book. And then the second one was Parisa Befriends the Pixies. Sha'Ryah teaches a wolf to meditate because he's a werewolf. Stuff like that. And then the other series that I wrote was the Luminous Soul series. And this is the one, like I said, that teaches the children about the language of light and about energy and about the universe, and from a much more open space. And then there's some adult books. All of these things, they were, like everything that you're doing, everything that you're going through, everything that you're experiencing, all the lessons that you've had, they're all building you. They're like your codex, your complete codex of all the things. And then from those things that you're creating, that's creating the new earth, or you're creating what you want to see. And that's what we're meant to do, is look at the stuff that they're creating out there and say, no, thanks. No, thank you. No, thank you. I do not want to wear clothing that looks like I'm wearing a pile of poop on my back. No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. I don't want to watch movies where they are harming people. No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. I don't want to go to music where it's made in frequencies that are disruptive to us, that are singing lyrics that are terrible, that are doing rituals that are absolutely abhorrent. I'm going to create music that is in the right frequency with the right sounds. I'm going to create the movies that are positive, holistic, upholding life. I'm going to create the financial structures, the communities, the cities, the education, whatever is necessary. That's what we are here to do. That's what we came for. And know by remembering who and what you are, which is a divine being having a human experience. And also remembering what the heck's happened here. Total hijack. My tea has gotten cold out there. I'm wondering why. If Carol was here, she'd be singing that, just so you guys know. So what are you guys all creating? What are you creating? I know Robert's been doing quite a bit. I see his lives. I pop in there every now and then. And we're going to do a global meditation soon. Probably around noon. We'll start the meditation that gives me 8 minutes. So I might go out there and grab my cold tea and bring it to me. So at least, it's not getting any colder. And that'll give you guys a minute to get ready. If you want, you can get yourself a journal available, because you might, once you're in that state, you might have stuff that comes up, or going through the meditation. If you have any visions, symbols, sensations, or anything, you might want to write them down. And if you want to have any sacred items with you, crystals per se, things like that. If you want to have those, you could grab them as well before the meditation. When we do the meditation, I use the sacred geometry of the flower of origin, and that is the flower that you see in the field. You see all kinds of geometry, but the field of sacred relationship is the field that is creating that sacred geometry of the flower of origin. I use the Vesica Piscis. I use the Merkaba. I'm trying to think. I think that's it. I think it's those three. It's okay if you can't think in your mind, what does the Vesica Piscis look like? Or what does this look like? I am on mountain time, so it'll be 2. Which is perfect. Thank you for mentioning that. So it'll be noon mountain. It'll be 2. So in 5 minutes, So I'll be right back. If you want anything for when you're meditating, grab them. If not, I will see you in 2 minutes, or within 5 minutes. I'm just going to go and grab my tea and maybe the ladies' room. going to sit that on the heater. Turn the heater on high so it can start to reheat it, because yes, it is absolutely, absolutely cold. All righty. Push my chair in here. No, we're good. I was trying to decide if I should go to the ladies' room, but I'm just gonna, we're fine. We're fine. All right, let's get some music going. So in this meditation, we are going to go through steps. So the first step is always ourselves. We have to clear ourselves before we start to work on others, right? Anybody that's doing spiritual practices should have personal practices that are top notch before they're doing stuff with other people. It's always important that my field is clear, no matter what. If I'm doing cards for you and I come in and I'm all like, oh, my boyfriend, man, I don't have a boyfriend, but if I came in and I was all like, oh my God, that was just so annoying with the reading, right? No, I'm not actually. Thank you. I don't even think that's an appropriate question for you to ask, just like straight up. I just got asked if it was my time of month, but not like that, you know, a little more bluntly, because that's someone else's opinion or information. Are you my gynecologist? It's a possibility. Maybe he recognized me. Like, that's just, people are so funny. They're just funny. Like, just block them. Right? Oh, you get all kinds, man. All kinds. Some people come in and they'll be like, hi, grandma. and I'll be like, I am a grandma. And I don't find that an insult. I do find it disrespectful that you're calling me grandma, because that's reserved for special people, special people I care about. But anyway, we could go on and on about all the, right? Yeah, I ward myself too every day. Every day. Say silly things to me. I don't care. Why? Because we know who we are too, right? And when you're when you're good with yourself, then that's when you become unfuckwithable. And it's a great word for that. But we do. People can't mess with you then, right? How do they mess with somebody if you can't say something to them? If you can't get a rise out of someone emotionally, well, then you're impervious, right? That's what we need to work on. All right. So we're going to do this meditation. When we go through the meditation, there's going to be points where I'm going to tone. So do be prepared for me to be toning, so that doesn't startle you. And I'm telling you that because I'm somebody who's been meditating, and you know how like everything's like at the same level, and then all of a sudden something comes in just a little, and you're just like, because you're in a good meditation. So I just want to let you know to be prepared to hear toning. Okay. So it doesn't startle you. It's not like, surprise. Oh my gosh, what was that? All right. I just have to do one thing, because when I go into doing this, I have to make sure that I pop the chat window out on StreamYard so that I can see it in case it pops up. I have to make it big on the other screen. And then let me see. All righty. Okay. Are you ready? So the only thing you need to do is just settle in. Okay. Just settle in. And I always do my beforehand thing. Please don't do this meditation if you can't close your eyes. Please don't do this meditation if you're lifting heavy equipment or operating heavy equipment. Don't do this meditation if you need your eyes. Literally don't. Also make sure that you're in a good position and your device is in a good position, because sometimes when we're meditating, we just get a little lax with our muscle control. I don't want you falling over or you damaging your device in the process. So just sit it down, get yourself comfortable, and We are going to begin. I'm going to turn up the volume of the, oh my God, if my mom shows up right now, that would be epic. My mom just came on TikTok. I just saw her, like she's on right now. My mom's been on TikTok for months. She's on TikTok so she can send me things and because she can see me too. Because she lives in Ontario. But I just saw her come online, and I'm like, that'd be hilarious if she came to the meditation with us, wouldn't it? Anyway, all right. We've delayed long enough. I got to get the volume right. We're going to put it down a little bit so that my voice is above it. How does that sound? Is that good volume? You can still hear the music. I know on some of them, you hear the music only when the voice is speaking, and sometimes you only hear the music when the voice isn't. Is it a good volume? Hi, Mommy. I'm just going to do a meditation. Feel free to join me. Feel free to stay. She came on my other one. It's good music? Okay. All right. All right, let's get ready to meditate, guys. Let's do this, all right? All right, whether my mom sticks around and does it with me or not. All right. Welcome. Today we gather not to impose, not to control, and not to override free will, but to become coherent, harmonic resonance with the living field. We gather in peace, we gather in love, we gather in truth, and we gather in unity. May this meditation serve all willing and consenting beings, Mother Gaia, all non-speaking life aligned with harmony, and the highest timelines available to each soul in accordance with divine law. Take a slow breath in and gently close your eyes. As we begin, bring your awareness to your body and take a nice, long, deep inhale through your nose, filling up your tummy, your chest, pausing before exhaling nice and long. We want to extend the exhale because it is the break in your nervous system. Allow yourself to settle into the space that's created. Another deep breath in through your nose, into your tummy, up into your chest, before pausing and then releasing in an extended exhale. On the third and deep inhale and exhale, allow yourself to really fall into that space that's created. Before we transmit outward, we stabilize inward. Feel your body. Feel your seat upon the chair. Feel your feet upon the floor. Bring your awareness to your heart space. See the light there glowing and the warmth emanating outward. Feel the earth beneath you. Feel the stability, the security of the living being. Feel your breath move through you, natural. In and out. Relax your jaw. Relax your shoulders. Relax your belly. There is nowhere to force yourself to be. There is nothing for you to fix. Your nervous system is a part of the meditation. Now return your awareness to your heart center. Visualize a luminous point of stillness in the center of your chest. A point before thought, before fear, before separation. This is the still point. This is the eternal center. Allow the tone to move through your body like a wave of peace. Now visualize two spheres of light overlapping, one above, one below. The Vesica Piscis, the almond or eye shaped in the intersection between the two circles. One circle spirit, the other circle matter. Heaven and earth. Self and source. Where they meet, the Vesica Piscis forms. This is the geometry of birth, creation, union, coherence, Allow the field to settle and soften. Allow the heart to naturally open. Now the Vesica Piscis begins expanding outward, forming the flower of origin. Living geometry. Harmonic symmetry. The architecture of interconnected life. Sacred relationship revealing itself. See every circle interconnected. Every being connected. Every life influencing the whole. Now we send harmony through the emotional waters of humanity and Gaia. See ripple rings moving outward across the earth. Through oceans, through hearts, through nervous systems. No force, no control. Harmonic resonance. Now, from the center of your heart, the center of the flower, a rose spiral, emerald green emerges. The harmonic geometry of love. Not attachment, not possession, not emotional control, but coherent love, stable love, living love. Vesica May all willing hearts remember coherence. Now visualize a golden Merkaba surrounding your body. 2 interlocking tetrahedrons or pyramids. 1 pointing up, 1 pointing down. Spinning in perfect harmony. Now visualize the same around the earth. See it spinning in harmonic resonance. The planetary light body stabilizes. Now we anchor into Gaia. Visualize golden crystalline lines entering Earth. Feel your energy roots descending into the Earth, into crystal, into water, into soil, into stone, connecting into the mycelium network. May Gaia stabilize into her highest harmonic expression. Now, above the earth, see a canopy of stars. Ancient suns, living consciousness. Cosmic memory. Zoo. May all living beings remember their place within the living cosmos. Now visualize the earth stabilizing into concentric harmonic light. Feel peace without force. Feel love without attachment. Feel unity without assimilation. And feel truth without fear. May all transmissions offered be serving only the highest good, divine love, divine truth, divine law, and the sovereign evolution of all willing beings. May Mother Gaia be supported in her highest harmonic expression. May all life move forward toward greater coherence, peace, and remembrance according to its own sacred path. And so it is. Take a breath in through the nose, into the belly, up into the chest. Pause, release slowly. Feel your feet. Feel your seat. Place your awareness back on your heart. Withdraw your energetic roots from the earth. Feel your body. Take one more breath in, out. And when you're ready, open your eyes and return to the space. And there we are. How did you experience that? Hi, Mommy. Hello, my mummy. My mom's watching me on the other one. Hello, Mommy. I was going to call you today, too. Video chat. Have a little video chat. Hello. We do that every Saturday. So I do 3 lives a week. I went 3 lives. I can count. I do 3 lives a week. One is typically at 10 a.m. on Saturdays, but I was late today because I just forgot. I completely forgot whether it was Saturday or whether it was that late in the day already. Either way, forgot. Time, so it's 2 hours later if you're Eastern. So I go live at 10 a.m. on Saturdays for the global meditation, and each time we talk about healing, we talk about spirit, about these from an embodied sense. I had to take a drink in the middle of that at one point. It was, and I had to watch because when you've been online for just over an hour, they give you the puzzle to do. So the whole time I had to keep my eyes, keep opening and keep my eye so I could catch the puzzle. Otherwise, they kick you off it. I almost did that once. Oh. Well, my tea is much warmer now. That has been sitting there for a bit, which is good. I lost my train. Oh yeah. When I'm doing my lives. Okay. So lives 10 a.m. on Saturday, where we talk about spirituality. We talk about healing. We do energetic check-ins. Sometimes I pull out Oracle and Tarot cards. Sometimes I read some of my books or some of my channeled stuff that I've channeled, and I share that with you guys. I really love it when you guys are involved and you're asking questions or you're sharing like what's going on with your spiritual journey. What are you doing? What are you creating? What are you, let's share, let's hang out, let's join together. On Sunday night, I love you too. I'll talk with you later, sweetheart. You have a wonderful day. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me to go live. I go live Sundays nights at 6 p.m. or 8 p.m. Eastern. That one might be pushing it a little later because on Wednesdays I don't go late. I don't go live until 7:30 p.m. and I was kind of against that, mostly because I like my evenings to myself. But when I do the live at 6 p.m., I find that I'm running around trying to get food beforehand. It's just a time that seems could work a little bit better if it was pushed a little bit later. But for right now, it's 6 p.m. Mountain, 8 p.m. Eastern. And again, we talk about spirituality, we talk about healing. Sometimes we do somatic practices, sometimes we do activations, sometimes we do cards with it. I typically check on the energy of the week, and that's the true sky, the living sky, and what the planets are going to be doing, where they're transiting to, and what that means for us energetically. And then on Wednesdays, again, it's embodied spirituality is the name of the game. And so we're talking about it. It's from an embodied sense. We are not here to try to ascend out of our bodies. We are not here to try to escape our humanness or our human responsibilities or anything. We came here to create the new earth, and we can only do that by creating it in matter, because we are in a physical realm. And you are a multidimensional, multigalactic individual as it is. Your soul is eternal. This is this particular incarnation. Time's irrelevant. It's an illusion. The only moment that actually matters is the current moment that you're in. Everything else exists in your imagination. And when you are not in this physical form, you are outside of time and space. So when you're outside of time and space, you know the all. So your oversoul has a lot more information than you, a lot more knowing about what's going on. So they made the plan of what you're out here implementing, and so are other fractals of your soul. Your oversoul tends to separate into 13 with a core, root, and then 12 branches. And they can be either incarnated or not. Most times partially. There's only a couple that are incarnated and the rest are not. They are in either different realms or different dimensions on different planets. And some didn't incarnate at all. They're still in what you would consider to be the spiritual realm. Some people have souls that are incarnated in the same time. They just usually not in the same space. Mind you, that's part of your soul journey, is to reconnect at some point. Some of us have sent ourselves some soul agreements or contracts where we are going to have a walk-in, and that walk-in could be a fractal of your soul that you're grabbing the information and knowledge that's contained within that part of that fractal. All of a sudden, you just suddenly know how to speak Spanish fluently, and you don't know why. Because that soul fractal walked in. But it's all part of the mission that you assigned yourself. There's all the reasons why are all in the plan that you made, that you maybe can't read right now, but the plan that you made. The biggest thing that I find to be a part of everything is sacred relationship, and that is sacred relationship with all life, including the unseen, so the elements and the unseen beings, the unseen help that we get all the time from our spirit guides, from the ether element in and of itself. The fact that the field unifies us, we're speaking to it, thinking to it, feeling to it, and acting to it all the time. There's never a moment when you're not. So everything that you are, it's not that one moment that you have a bad thought. It's the patterns and it's what you're doing consistently that are what dictates or predicts what's going to be resonated back to you in the field. And it's not always resonated. It's not always reflecting back to you identically either. You could slap somebody and the field might, you might get kicked. You're not necessarily getting it back exactly the same way, right? You might hit somebody's car and damage it and drive away and think, oh, it's nothing, nobody saw it, no big deal, it's all okay. And then, I don't know, 6 months later, somebody drops your phone and breaks the screen on it. It comes around full circle at some point in time, right? That's the way that the field is. The field is the unifying force, and we make up the field of God, of source, of universe. And collectively, what we think and feel and do creates the reality. And so the more of us that think peace, the more of us that create beauty, the more of us that live in sacred cause, the more of us that understand unity consciousness, the more of us that interact with the ether element, the more of us that do this, the more that becomes the reality that we all live in. There you go. Yeah, that's that. Not bad for showing up an hour late. We did a good day. Ooh, I'll do something before we leave, because I started doing this one thing and I didn't do it yet today. So I'll do it now, and then that way it'll be ready for me to record later on too. So I created, I said earlier, I do my own Oracle and Tarot cards, because creating things, and that includes like all forms of art, is healing. It's also like it helps to regulate your nervous system. It does so many things. But we are meant to be creating, not consuming. So the more things that you can be doing that are in a creation type of space, whether that's artwork, singing, you're making, food, you're, even tending to your house, you can do that in a creative way, or, you can do it in a nurturing way. But anyway, we are meant to be creators. So we should be creating more than we're consuming at the very least. I created these deck of cards, and the cards that I created, they're a tarot deck, but they have an expanded section to it because I created them including the ether element. So this is a 5-element tarot deck. A typical tarot deck includes the 4 elements and then the major arcana, which is 22 cards. I said, well, the ether element exists and it's important, so I put it back in the cards. So what I do, because of all the elemental work that I'm doing and writing the elemental fieldwork codex, I sit and channel messages from the elements and I just write them down. But I decided I was going to take my tarot deck and I was going to separate it into the suits and pull a card from the elements. So that's what I'm going to do. So we're going to check in on what each of the elements. So what does the earth element have for a message for the collective right now? So we'll get one card from each. All right. So what does earth have to give us for a message today? On June 27th, another month, guys, another month just zippity-doo-dah-daying by. And imagine how much it's going to speed up in the next little bit. We're quickly approaching a day out of time. A day out of time. Oh, nope. It said no, not that one. Oh, it said that one. All right, page. The page of earth. So the page of earth is learning opportunities and growth. I love to say that the page of earth reminds me of Gemini, because Gemini, or Sagittarius, but one of the air signs, definitely because of the learning. But Gemini is the one that's forever the perpetual student of life. Gemini is constantly learning and then wants to share that knowledge. They're the social butterfly. This, because it's the page is the first card once we get into the royal suit. And so when we're looking at the page as the royal suit, it's a new beginning, because it's the beginning of the royals. But these are beginnings that are more long-term, or that apply to your life in a larger capacity than, the new beginning that's in the lower part of the deck. So we've got this beautiful page, and he's come to say that there are new opportunities coming. There could be training coming, apprenticeship, personal growth, financial planning, disciplined learning, and skill development. So the page of earth reminds you that great things begin with small steps, whether you are pursuing a new career or financial goal or personal endeavor. Your patience and dedication will lead to profound results. You just have to stay open. None of the therapists that I've had, none of the psychiatrists that I've ever went to have ever diagnosed me as crazy. So no. But the jury's still out. The jury of the public, I suppose, might call me crazy. I don't know. I think crazy, much like beauty, is in the eye of the beholder, or, it's subjective. Do you have anything to offer that's beneficial in any way? Do you have anything to contribute to society in a positive way? So let's see what we get from water. Let's see what the water element, and hang on a second. Yeah. Okay. Aww. You know how much you hurt my feelings? None. Sorry, I couldn't even show you because they're none. You're the one that I would actually call that, because you're interacting with somebody that you think about that, but you're still giving me all your attention. So thank you. When I don't like something, I go on by. I'm like, not for me. Move on by. You actually interact with it. You say, I don't like this, but I'm going to interact with it because I want some more of something I don't like. Instead of just going on by. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. All right, we got the 10 of water. I love the 10 of water. So water is emotions, and water being emotion is, and at tens mark endings and beginnings. But in this case, this is talking about divine love. This is, emotional fulfillment. And it is also harmonious relationships, joy, spiritual connection, and bliss. The 10 of water is profound confirmation that you have reached a place of deep emotional fulfillment and divine alignment. Whether in relationships, personal or spiritual connection, you are surrounded by love and your heart is wide open to receive the blessings of the universe. I'll take that one too, hey? Let's take that one. I keep forgetting I have to set them aside because I'm going to do a reading for the collective using them. All right. Let's see what our lovely air element has to say. So air is mental. So let's see. We might have a message for somebody. We don't know. Can I get a good message for the collective, please, air? One of the messages I got from air one time when I connected to air was, it was kind of chuckling, because it was like, too bad you hadn't, when you got stressed, joined me earlier. Just take a little bit longer of a breath whenever you feel stress. Hi, Sparrow. How are you? All right. Air, you're being stubborn with your card. That's okay. Whoop. Speak no later. All right. We have, hello. We have the 8 of air in the inverted. So let's flip it around. The 8 of air. So when we're looking at air is mental. And most times the ones that have the hardest or harshest messages come from the air element. And in this sense here, though, when we're looking at the 8 usually mentions that, or is referring to that time of completion. We're done. So we go do our bull burning ceremony. We tidy it all up in a nice little ritual and okay, flow away. Bye-bye. When it's in the reverse, that's when we have some resistance to change. So there may be something, and this is mental change, right? This is our thoughts, this is our belief system, logic. So somebody may be resisting some change to the logic center, some thought that needs to change, some process of that mentality. There may be something that you need to let go of. There may be something that you've been holding on to, maybe pain, right? Sometimes we identify with our pain or our emotions, right? One of the things I had to learn, and one of the things I teach people is not to say, I am anxious in that way, right? I am a divine being. I am a spirit having a human experience. I am a whole bunch of things, but I am not that, right? You are feeling or experiencing that, but you are not that. That puts distance between it. So if you name it as something that you're experiencing as opposed to something that you are, it puts distance between it. And the other thing about the 8 in the reverse is about delaying the inevitable. Okay, so the 10 of I was saying 8 of air. I'm sorry, it was the 10 of air. I've been getting a lot of 10s lately. I should have known. 10 of air, 10 of air, 10 of air, not 8 of air. So the 10 of air, endings and beginnings. This is refusing to end something. I was reading the card. Forget about the bowl burning ceremony. That's the 8 of air. And it's actually the 8 of water. I'm okay. I'll be fine. 8 of air, 10 of air. 10 of air is the death of an old identity, the breaking of an illusion, and the dawn of true clarity. This is not an end, it is a rebirth. Surrender to the divine flow and trust that the light ahead is guiding you home. All right. 10 of air. Let it go. And if I actually go back into the imaging of it or into the cards, I'm like, yes, yes, yes. The 8 of air is the one that reminds us that, that we are the ones that are torturing ourselves with our own thoughts. Whereas the 8 of water is the burning and walking away from the things that do not serve you. Anyway, I apologize. I've got it straightened out though. All right, let's see what fire has to tell us today. All right, don't let things go. Whatever's not aligned with you, let it go. Be like Elsa and walk away. Gratitude for you too. All right, let's see what we have for fire. What does fire have to say today? Can we have a good message today, fire? I did a cool art thing with this last night. I pulled cards for myself. And then when I pulled the cards, I looked at each of the cards and I mapped where I felt it in my body. Sorry, I was hearing a noise out there and I was just wondering what it was, but I think it's just a bird out there making like a sound. Yeah. All right. So I mapped where I felt it in my body. So I was like, okay, the earth was talking about balance. And I was like, where do I feel balanced in my body? And I'm like, my legs. So I drew a picture of a girl. I brought it in. Wait, I got to sneeze. I'm just a whole host of fun. So I wrote this legend, right? So earth, water, air, fire, ether, and then the major arcana. So that was my little thing. And then this is the girl here. You can see her hair is kind of flowing in the breeze there, and she's standing there wearing. And so then I drew each of the colors represent. Thank you very much, you guys. It represents where I was feeling the particular element in the body. So when I pulled the 2 of earth, which was talking about balanced, I was like, I felt balanced very much throughout my body, which is why there's green throughout, but predominantly like legs and stuff, right? So this is a cool practice for you to do as well. In the Elemental Fieldwork Codex, one of the parts of building sacred relationship with the elements is body mapping. And so this was like a way that I did that in the art with, I love it. And then I made the turtle. I just decided to do another one. And so I drew a bunch of squiggly lines, and then I decided to pick something that kind of came out within it that to me represented slowing down. And so the turtle came to mind. So I did that. I really strongly suggest artwork. Artwork as a part of the healing, awakening, expression, all of it. All right. Fire. Let's see what fire has to say. So I body mapped that. That's what I wanted to highlight though, is about body mapping the elements within your body. So where do you feel the earth element? Like when you sit with the earth element, where do you feel that in your body? And if you feel it in your body, do you feel like it's excessive or it's distorted or it's under? Just maybe you are. And fire had something to say, and it wanted to say 2 things. So we're going to say 2 things. One, we're victorious with the 6 of fire, and we've also got 6-9. Got the 6-9. Where's the 3? Where is the 3? Maybe major arcana will give us 3. Anyway, 6 and 9. The 6. Let's start with the 6. Hi, Cuddles. How are you, love? All right. The 6. This is our triumph. This is our recognition, right? This is like you're standing on the stage, you're finally being seen, you're being recognized. Maybe people are starting to buy your services. Maybe, like you, but you're being seen, you're being recognized, you're seeing victory, success, recognition, there's celebration, there's public acknowledgement, and you're rising above whatever it was, right? And that could be maybe imposter syndrome or some fear that was ingrained there. A lot of times it's not even fear of failure, it's more fear of success that hurts us. We look a lot into fear of failure, but we don't look a lot into fear of success because we don't like, why would I be afraid of success? Because as you succeed, you have to say goodbye to a lot of people. You say goodbye to a lot of things as you're rising, and we know that. We know that those people who are like, you can't do that, you're crazy, why would you think to do that? We know inherently that we're vibrating with the people that we're with right now because they're on the same level, we're on the same frequency. So it's a magnet situation. And as we rise up, we're not going to be in the same magnet, we're not going to be in the same resonance pool, right? So we know we're going to leave them. The Six of Fire reminds you that your journey has been seen and honored. Take this moment to celebrate, but also to recognize that your fire is now a guiding force for others. Keep shining, keep leading, keep rising. Because we need the new earth leaders to be rising. We need them to be standing up there. People need to have their open light on. If you're leading the way, if you're leading the new earth, you have to have that open sign on because people are going to be looking for you. Things are ramping up, we keep saying, right? All right. And then we have the 9. The 9 of fire is resilience and spiritual strength. This is perseverance, determination, resilience, spiritual strength, and standing your ground. The 9 of fire reminds you that you are close to a breakthrough. Happened. Keep going, trust your wisdom, and let your fire guide you to victory. So this was the fire sign telling us, keep going because victory is here. It's right here. It's right here, right now. Like, it's like there's such a close thing. We might as well give it to you both at once. All right, let's see what we get from Ether and then Major Arcana. All right. Don't you love that? I don't know how many times I do readings and I'm like, I should just go like I've read that in the mirror. That would have been handy. Was this for the public or was this just for me? Hi, Vanity. How are you, love? All right. What does Ether have to say to us? Oh, Spirit, can we get a good message for the collective, please? Thank you for the gift. I appreciate you. And thank you for following me. All right, Spirit, what do you have to say? What do you have to say? Ooh, I had a really good idea. Oh my gosh. It's the Ace of Ether. Love and light to you, sweetheart. All right, the Ace of Ether. The Ace of Ether is divine illumination, pure potential, and cosmic awakening. Now remember, aces contain the potential of the entire suit, which means the King of Ether, and that's enlightenment. That is the height of enlightenment. So it carries a lot of potential. It is divine inspiration, higher awareness, cosmic connection, limitless potential, awakening, divine gifts unfolding. And a lot of people are going to be getting activated more and more and more and more. One of the things that's activating, sun. Why are we seeing so much cloud? Why are we seeing so much stuff up there? Because the sun is activating. 2, we each are activating. We need to find each other and hang out. I've been calling you guys, by the way. I've been like, please, where's my collective? Where's the collective? Where's the collective? Where's the people? Come on. So I'm so glad you guys are here because like we need to hang out together because us together is way more powerful than us on our own, right? As a single node, us nodes linking up, it's powerful. All right. So the Ace of Ether is an invitation to step into your highest embodiment, to receive and transmit divine energy, and to trust that you are fully supported in your cosmic expansion. It is purest connection to source, the beginning of all things, and the light that guides you home. I love this card. All right, next one is the Major Arcana. Then we're through them all. Let's see. What does our major arcana have to say? Lewis. What does our major arcana have to say to tie this all together? Right? We're all change makers. Oh, ooh. The World. That's a lot of good cards. A lot of good, and it does. 21 makes 3. 21 makes 3. We got 3, 6, 9, guys. We got 1. We got 3 1s because we had 3 10. We had 2 10s and a 1. So we technically have 3 1s. We have 4 if we count the page, because the page is the first in the royal suit, although he would technically be 11. But I mean, we could really work the numbers if we wanted to. But if we look at the ones that actually have numbers, we did get 3, 6, 9 and 3 1s. New beginnings and 3, 6, 9. I like it. All right, 21, the world. The completion of a divine cycle. Completion, enlightenment, mastery, infinite potential, divine union, cosmic flow, celebration of a journey, stepping into higher purpose. The major arcana was like chat. I was getting chatter at the same. This is what this card was telling us: is we complete we win. New earth, like we've done it, right? From the beginning, like stepping into your full cosmic power, the completion cycle, right? You being standing on the stage, right? Like the perseverance that you've shown. There's some things we need to let go of, but we're doing it begrudgingly, but we're emotionally fulfilled now. Being in that peaceful state means that no one can mess with us. It just bounces and know who and what we are and what we came here to do. And we have our soul family. We have our friends. We have, right? We are waking sacred rage, right? That's fire. Fire is sacred rage for sure. Not, harm for harm's sake, but just for sacred sake. And the page, right? The earth, new beginnings. We had new beginnings and all the way to a completion cycle. Like we went through it today. All right. What else is it saying? So the world signifies not an end, but a new beginning on a higher plane. You have reached a divine threshold. Embrace your expansion, for the universe is yours to explore. Thank you for joining the club. How awesome is that? I think that was like the best, right? Have you done yours in true sidereal, or is that just in tropical? You're so welcome. I dropped another one. I was peeking at cards. I usually say if I see it, I have to read it, but I'm not doing that. I know that this card's the 10 of fire. So I was like, okay, the 10 of fire is sitting here. And then I looked behind it because, I did all the pictures of these cards, right? And so this one, which is the actual 8 of fire, like the Knight of Fire, I was looking for the 3 of fire. There he is. So we can have the 3 of fire. Yeah, I do. I was a super Sagittarius. I feel like I say supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, but I was a super Sagittarius in tropical astrology. And then I did true sidereal, and I created a whole system. I do Christic astrology. I do teach it. I'm going to run it again. I'm going to run it. I haven't ran it. I started running it and I didn't get the feedback or the people that wanted to take the course like I'd hoped. So, I decided to push it. Literally my best friend was like, I'll take it. I'll take it. I'm in. And I'm like, well, let's get one other person, at least one other person. So, I'm not basically just teaching my best friend everything I know about it. So anyway, so I postponed it or pushed it out until I got more interest in it. But when people do want to know, I will teach true sidereal through the Christic lens. And when I talk about Christic, I just mean free from distortion, manipulation, and all of that stuff, right? I never put anything in my content that is, you have to do this because of urgency, right? I don't manipulate people's emotions. I don't psychologically manipulate people to get them to buy from me. That's never been a way that I work, and that's why 5 years out, it's it was a slow go. It was a slow moving car because I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to be that person that was, I didn't have to glamorize everything. What you see is what you get. No makeup, not a stitch, not a stitch. No dye in my hair. I'm just me, and you get what you get. And I give you the tools so that you don't need to keep coming back to me over and over and over and over and over again. And I think that's far more beneficial. Far more beneficial. But yeah, I didn't use all those things. Sex sells, but I didn't. Nope. Not for me, it doesn't. Too much about sacred relationship for me to go into that realm. I didn't feel good. It didn't feel good pushing on people's pain point in order to get them to buy something from me. And then a lot of it is because a lot of that stuff, people aren't even doing the right thing. They're not actually healing or helping you. They're just getting you to cycle back in and use their stuff again and again and again and again. So you never actually get healthy. Would you guys like an oracle card? Everyone that's sitting here watching, if you want, you just have to ask for it. If you say yes, I'll give you an oracle card. Because I made these too. These are, I hand painted these. They're little oracle cards. They're the 44 keys of the way, which, yes, that has to do with Yeshua and Mary Magdalene and the sacred teachings. So I made this deck. That's what creativity does for you. Because when I grew up, I used to write and draw all the time. It was how I escaped from the situations around me. I was reading, I was doing something like learning something, or I was drawing, writing poems, painting, like doing something. I always had, I always had a pencil and a pen for school. Like, we were poor. So, if you had a pen and a paper, you could draw, you could write, you could do all of those things. It was easy. And because I was actually enrolled in a public school, I had books from the library, so I could read. And well, my teachers, they were really nice at patting me on the head and making me feel like I was valued, or that, what I was doing in school was good. So I kept working at school because I liked the pats on the heads. It was better than what else I was getting. And so anyway, but when I got done school, like, I remember, my uncle, I wanted to be an artist. I wanted to be an artist. I really wanted to be an artist. But you know what trauma gave me? Far too many insecurities to do something like that. And this very, very strong belief that the people that went to art school were like wickedly talented. You didn't go to art school to learn how to draw. You went to art school because you already knew how to draw. They were just helping you refine your ability. That's what my brain said. I didn't go to art school. Instead, I decided to become a computer programmer because, that's totally in line with everything that you've just heard me talk about that I did as a kid. Nature. I started swimming at 3. I used to try to catch fairies. I lived in British Columbia in the big, big forests there. They are just magical. You can believe there's trolls and goblins and spirits and sprites and pixies and all kinds of things, where you're going around all those big sequoias, and there's such a heavy amount of needles that have muffled the floor, and there's all kinds of moss and stuff. Man, those forests are magical. You could go in there and totally lose yourself thinking, absolutely, there's some magic in here. So I had magic in my heart. And, so I did those kinds of things. I was reading and drawing and painting and dancing with fairies, and I became a computer programmer. Everyone was like, what? You're not going to school for art? What? And then I went to nursing. because, well, computers wasn't for me. Still not art. But when I was doing my healing, I've always drawn. I've continued drawing. But one day I decided I was just going to get up every morning. I was going to leave all my art stuff laying out on the kitchen table because it doesn't matter. It's my house. I clean it. Nobody else lives with me. If my kitchen table's an art table, so be it. I can eat somewhere else. I can eat at the bar that is at the kitchen island. I can eat, I can sit down on the floor and eat at my coffee table if I wanted to. But then every day I got up and I just kept painting every single morning. I would paint. It did not matter. I would paint. And because of that, that gave me this new trust that this new belief, this confidence. There we go. It improved my confidence. And I started to, wow, isn't that surprising? It's funny how that works, isn't it? That as you do something, you gain confidence. The way to be confident in something is just to do it. That's something like motivation. Everybody's like, I got to get motivated to do this. And it's like, no, you do it. And then motivation keeps you going. It's devotion that gets you in the door. Motivation gets you to, to keep it doing it a little bit longer. But anyway, because I did that, and then I decided I was going to make a deck of cards, and I just wanted to have them in hand. And I had these size oracle, like these size of 2 different sizes of cards for painting on. And I just made the first deck in these ones, not these cards that I painted. And then I painted these ones because that one was just so much fun. And I was like, oh my gosh. So yeah, practice will grow your skill and also your confidence. And then you never know what you're going to create from it. All right, let me see who's first and we'll do that. All right. So we've got, I am Michelle. Okay, Michelle, what does the 44 keys of the way have to say for you today? Mm-hmm. These are just cute little oracle cards too. You'll get your affirmation, you'll get your remembrance, and then you'll get your little practice that you have to do. Okay. And sometimes they want to be really picky on us about the cards that you're getting. Hang on. The thing about these ones is there is no up, down in them. There is just uprights. Okay. All right. You got the living legacy. This is card number 43. Your affirmation. My life contributes to the future. Remembrance. Daily actions accumulate into legacy. Small choices scale over time. Intention guides direction. Practice. Choose one habit to build today. Do it today. Repeat it tomorrow. The thing I think is adorable about that is because it's just what I was just saying. So, man, if I wanted to mess up my drawer just fell off again. Let me see if I can open it with the drawer off of it. Being the living legacy, the tree. Oh, I love that. I'm just going to set my lid over there. That's awesome. All right. Vanity was next. And then I got to scroll up and check again who was after vanity. Beautiful. The tree of life. The beautiful tree of life. Everything mimics the tree of life in so many ways. Tree of life. Vanity. The compassionate view. Did you say you were a caregiver? I meet life with compassion. Compassion reduces harshness without removing clarity, understanding while maintaining boundaries. Your practice is to reframe one judgment, state a kinder interpretation, and keep your boundary. Okay? Okay, scroll back up. I went too far. Gina, and then Jordan. Gina, and then Jordan. Okay. All right, Gina. I don't know if you're still there. I hope you are. Let me know if you are. Oops. Perfect. I see you. Gina. Oh my goodness, that flew. Like that flew. Sacred service. Okay. My gifts support the well-being of others. Remembrance. Service is expression, not sacrifice. I did that for too long. It flows from capacity. Sustainable service requires boundaries. Your practice is to offer one useful action, do it cleanly, and do not seek validation. Okay? I'm just making sure because a couple that fell sideways on my foot, but not on the floor. So there, I think that's a good message for all of us, because I think many of us who, came here to create these new structures or to be the change. I'm trying to think of ways to say it without, going into the whole chosen light workers, like all of that stuff. But, there are terms that people do relate to, but we came here to be the change makers. We came here to look at what's there and say that today, Satan, and walk the other way and create the life that actually aligns with life, with living. And in the distorted or inverted spaces that we're in, we're taught when we're taught everything's external to us. We give and we give and we give and we give and we give. And we're also taught that everything external from us is how we fulfill ourselves. Like we fulfill ourselves by either taking that drug or that drink or that surgery or that diet or that clothing or that mug or that whatever, right? And, there's trying to make us all, the connect. There's so much. I'm like, holy, I could probably just talk for an hour on that. I should be careful how far I go into that because, it's the way that it all happens. But we get into that spot where, and I did it too with the service, right? When I was serving and I, gave and gave and gave and gave and gave and gave and gave, and then you have nothing left. And eventually you just burn yourself out because you have to fill up your tank with gas, whatever, your energy, right? You have to fill up your tank before you're giving it to others. Now, does that mean that you always have to have a full tank before you help somebody? No. It's ideal, but no. If you're in a situation where somebody needs help and your tank's not full, but you have enough that you can give, then you can choose to do so. You don't have to be like, nah, man, my cup's not completely full, I'm out. Because people think it's, it's one or the other. No, that's where, two things can be true. You should fill up your cup first, but if somebody needed you in a pinch, you would do it even if your cup wasn't full. When it comes to, but we're not supposed to just give and give and give from ourselves. We have to, whatever we do for ourselves affects the whole entire thing, because the field is constantly listening, constantly feeling, constantly listening to your words, feeling your emotions, hearing your belief system, resonating with the actions that you're taking. So all of that is happening all the time. So make sure that what you're sending out into the field is aligned. So your thoughts, your words, your actions, and your belief system are all aligned, because that's how you create that alignment. If we don't do that, then we basically go into the restaurant and we're like, feelings are, I want a steak. Thoughts are, I want shrimp. The spirit is, I want a salad. The belief system is pasta. And the waiter's like, I don't know what to give them. So the alignment of the mind, like of the body, thought, like of all of it, your thoughts, your feelings, your belief system, and the actions you're taking is important so that the field knows what to give you in the order that you're putting out there by all of those things. Right? We need that. I lost my train of thought. All right. I'm going to, before I go on to another channel, I'm going to pull a card for Jordan. All right. Can I get a good message for Jordan, please? Ooh. The returning flame. I always have the power to return to alignment. You will drift. Returning is the practice. No distance is permanent. Each return strengthens the pathway home. Consistency matters more than perfection. Practice. Pause. Take one deep breath. Say, I return, and then resume with one clear action. We do that frequently, where we go through, we say we have a great meditation practice. Every day we're getting up meditating, and then we stop meditating. The thing to catch yourself with is not to go into it and going, oh man, and just start beating yourself up or criticizing yourself or being hard on yourself or any of that. Is to notice and go, oh, that happens. I caught myself. Okay, cool. Reestablish that practice. Or it's time for you to address the practice, maybe meditating in the morning or meditating in the evening, or the type of meditation that you're doing, or something needs to change. Or maybe something already changed externally to you, and that's what created that change in your meditation practice. So if we do it in a more understanding or compassionate way, then when those things happen, we just catch ourselves and go, okay, I'm going to return to alignment, right? Let's say the alignment isn't even something like that. It's more the alignment. You have your belief system, you're worthy, but all of a sudden something happens, you were trying to sell something and it didn't sell very well. I've had that happen numerous times. The number of courses and products and services that I've put out there that just went to crickets. Nobody purchased it. Nobody looked at it. And I was just like, if I had to listen to the field with all the things that I was putting out there, it would have been resonating back to me. That was not good. That was not good. That was not good. And that wasn't the case. That's not the case at all. But if I got caught in that trap, then I would have been in the trap of going, I'm such a loser. I have to catch myself when I do that. I have to catch myself when I say that sucked. Or I have to catch myself when I say that, there's something wrong as to why that didn't come back to me. Well, there's more to it than that, right? Just as an example. Okay. Does that resonate with you? Both of them resonate? Did that resonate with you, Gina? And did that resonate with you, Jordan? I don't need my heater anymore. I don't need my heater anymore. My tea is perfectly heated up. Were you able to get that message, Jordan? Nope, wrong one. I put it on the back of the card. Okay, perfect. I saw green and I just grabbed it, but I put it on the bottom of the deck. Perfect. Did that resonate? Did it make sense to you? It could have just been, a reminder that if you do get off your path or out of alignment, it's just gentle correction back to the path, not to be hard on yourself. Yeah. I try not to be. I'm pretty good at it now, at not being hard on myself. That was the biggest, like I said, the biggest thing has been the nervous system, because nervous system is in everything. It's in the spiritual path. It's in the healing journey. It's in your awakening. It's your capacity. It's your sensory system. You connect to the mycelium network. And it was never the way it got distorted. That's the problem. The nervous system got hijacked by trauma and society and all the stuff that they did, and on purpose. Imagine how amazing it would be if that sensory unit that you have, instead of focusing on all the traumas that it's experienced and, trying to protect itself and keep itself safe. If that nervous system inherently knew it was safe, then it would be being extra sensory. Like it would be your sense, and it would be connecting. It would be like the mycelium network. It would be constantly giving and receiving information, but in a much different way, as opposed to how it is now, where it's just like, oh my God, safety, find me safety. Where is safety? I'm not safe. Right? Oh, that came in. That's not safe. That don't feel safe. That feels like something that was unsafe years ago. I'm not safe. Right? So the one thing that I could encourage you all to do is the nervous system work. And definitely, if you need help with that, follow me, check out my content, go to my website, check out that stuff there as well. Lots of stuff there. But I'm going to hop off. It's been over 2 hours that we've been on now. And remember that normally I go live at 10 a.m. on Mountain on Saturdays, unless I change it. 1, 2, 3 on here. New beginnings, guys. Unless I change it, I'll be back at 10 a.m. on next Saturday for the global meditation. But you can catch me tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Mountain. We'll do some embodied spirituality talk, same stuff we do today, and we'll do the same stuff on Wednesday. Only on Sundays, I'll check in with the celestial alignments for the true living sky and see what's happening with the sky this week and give you a little understanding about the energies that we're going to be dealing with. But I'm going to go and have some creativity and some food. Some food would be good, some food. And I suggest you do the same. Go have fun. Go let your little kid out to play. See what doesn't happen. I thought, oh, that little drop that came in, I had that little download and it just came. I almost forgot it, but I brought it back. Whew. It's about these cards, about having that as kind of like a game. Woo-wee. Okay. And I think I'm going to go call my mommy because she was watching. I'm going to hang up with you here, mommy, and I'm going to call where I can actually hear you too. Hi, Steve. How are you, love? Nice to see you before I headed off. I'll be back tomorrow night. Lots of hearts. Lots of hearts. Okay. Healing, awakenings from the embodied sense. We are walking this new earth. Doing and the things we're creating and the energy that we're vibrating in, right? We're resonance. We're magnetizing. I almost said magnifying, magnetizing. All right, guys, I'm out. I love you. Mwah. I will see you guys later. Later. All right, I got to shut this one off first because you two make noises.